Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel here with another pick a card reading. This is all about how you're getting your ish together in 2023. So I have 3 piles for you to choose from. We have pile 1 with the Rider-Waite Smith Tarot, the OG, and we have a little pickle Rick here. I don't want to mess up the cards. And we also have a green fluorite crystal. Next, we have the Lord of the Rings Tarot with the I Want That Mulan Szechuan McNugget sauce. And a tumbled labradorite crystal. And finally, we have a third picture here of everyone. With the Everyday Witch Tarot and the Gold Stone Heart. So again, 3 piles to choose from. Select the one that best resonates with you and your intuitive. Select the one that best resonates with you and your intuition. Obviously, if you are being called towards more than one pile, there are more messages in a different pile. And keep in mind that this is a personal reading. Leave what resonates or take what resonates, leave what does not for the collective. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more pick a card readings like this one. Toodles! Hello, pile 1. If you chose the green fluoride crystal and pickle Rick, this is your spread about how you're getting your ish together in 2023. So I think New Year's is a beautiful time because it illuminates reflection on what we accomplished in the previous year and what do we want to invite more of in 2023. Okay? So this main card is the source of where you need to get your ish together. And as you can see, we have the Empress. The Empress is the mother in tarot, okay? She's Taurus energy. This is all about abundance and material success. I would say that the areas that you're getting your ish together is health and wealth. And paired with the Hermit, so the Hermit reverse in this spread that I created is the external influences affecting this process of yours. We have the 8 of Pentacles indicating the internal influences and then the outcome of getting your ish together, which is in this case the 4 of Pentacles. I see you working with a therapist this year to overcome certain money blocks or certain trauma wounds that you may not be aware of from childhood. The mother to me indicates the first stage. I don't mean to shake the camera. Okay. The mother indicates nurturing something. So perhaps you haven't been able to complete certain projects due to a lack of finances or due to a lack of resources. However, I think you've had a habit of allowing circumstances to define your outcome, and your spirit guides are really asking you to break out of that pattern. Because with the Hermit and the Eight of Pentacles, I'm hearing that you won't know unless you try. Before we get any further with the tarot, I want to pair this with some book magic. So this is Daring Greatly. This was a book recommended to me by a very important therapist. I've had lots, but she was probably the one that I've had for the longest time. And she introduced me to Brenè Brown. And before, I don't believe, if I've heard of her, I never really thought to dive deeper into her works. And so I actually brought up the desire to start a YouTube channel with her. I remember this. And this was after my first breakup. And to those of you who've had their first breakup, you know that it takes a serious toll on you. And so I had a lot of doubt after that. And I think it's ironic that I'm mentioning this, because now that I'm remembering in Pickle Rick, he literally the whole episode was trying to avoid therapy. So he devised this serum that would turn him into a pickle that ultimately led him down a adventure for sure. And him needing to build up his tools and invent arms and limbs and go through this near-death experience, all to avoid talking about what's on your mind. And you might be withholding stuff back because you're afraid of talking about it. And I know that it's something, avoiding it may feel in the short term like the best solution because you're just gonna keep it in that box. And obviously there is a place and time. So maybe you need the right therapist or the right age in your life when you're ready to process. But the sooner that you do, the sooner that healing can truly start to show up. And what I mean by that is when you do introspection, you start to see results outside in the external world. And I think, Pile 1, you've felt deceit before, and you've had to put up walls, especially around colleagues, because perhaps other people tried to copy your work or run with your idea without giving you credit. And I think there were instances in school where you really felt like you had to prove your worth. And maybe that even started from a young age. Okay, so let's tap into Daring Greatly. Wow. I'm going to go to 75, and it's ironic because 75 reduces to 12, which reduces to 3, and 7 is actually the numeric value of the mother. So you might be thinking about, or there might have been a wound that was unconsciously extended to you, and you still are, your subconscious is still lingering onto that. If we can share our story with someone who responds with empathy and understanding, shame cannot survive. Self-compassion. Oh, I'm getting the chills, and you'll see why in a second. Self-compassion is also critically important, but because shame is a social concept, it happens between people. It also heals best between people. A social wound needs a social balm, and empathy is that balm. Self-compassion is key because when we're able to be gentle with ourselves in the mindset of shame, we're more than likely to reach out, connect, and experience empathy. To get to empathy, we have to first know what we're dealing with. Here are the 4 elements of shame resilience. The steps don't always happen in this order, but they always ultimately lead us to empathy and healing. 1. Recognizing shame and understanding its triggers. Shame is biology and biography. Can you physically recognize when you're in the grips of shame? Feel your way through it and figure out what messages and expectations triggered it. Practicing critical awareness. Can you reality check the messages and expectations that are driving your shame? Are they realistic, attainable? Are they what you want to be or what you think others need and or want from you? 3. Reaching out. Are you owning and sharing your story? We can't experience empathy if we're not connecting. 4. Speaking shame. Are you talking about how you feel and asking for what you need when you feel shame? I will pause for a minute in case you want to take a screenshot. But empathy is the answer. And you might have felt like you were never enough. And so you could not put yourself out there. And the reason I found that message from the book so synchronistic is because I drew a few oracle cards. And the first one is Goddess Kuan Yin, which is the Eastern world's Mother Mary. And we have compassion, kindness, and divine mercy with the rose. And often roses have thorns. Resilience, empathy, and connection are really going to help you blossom in 2023. Have compassion for where you are, because that is going to fill your heart up with pure energy. And I would say invite or bring flowers into your environment. You might be very inspired by Frida Kahlo's story. Also, yes, creating the environment for yourself to succeed. So if that means spending some time alone, away from people that you know tend to start conversations that make you feel shame, it's okay to give yourself space. It doesn't mean that you are a bad person. And we also have the Nightingale. Love is all around. You might not see love for what it is. You might have a different perception of love based on what you experienced. But your spirit guides are going to be surrounding you with messages of it. So listen to the lyrics that you are hearing. Your partner and yourself might have a song that really captures the essence of your relationship. And so learning about how to love yourself and mothering to help foster a truer sense of authenticity is really going to help you see that. Okay, so through music, you might feel very connected to music. So just keep your eyes open for that. My camera cut me off. Learn about love. We also have read 42. So there might be books about self-love, about personal development that you're going to look into. Otherwise, you might be reading about feng shui, or again, daring greatly, not a bad choice. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. You also might find this adult fantasy novel to be quite interesting. It's called The Poppy War. You might read a book from your childhood to reinvigorate and re-inspire your inner child, okay? So, Goddess Kuan Yin, kindness. Speak to yourself with kindness. Love is all around. Connect with music that maybe you listened to as a child. And reading, it's all about expanding your perception, because I think that your spirit guides are really inviting you to go the distance, explore new things this year. And they don't want your fears to hold you back from accomplishing your full potential. With the Eight of Pentacles, you might be in school for something, and your spirit guides want you to evaluate that this is truly what it is your heart is set on. Or is this something that you're doing because you feel pressure from your parents or from others that you look up to? So identifying your shame story and working to rewrite that narrative might be something that you decide to work on in therapy. Having enough for you is hard, because I think at this point in your life, the work, the hours, they do not produce the results for you to feel like you can relax and comfortably enjoy your resources. So maybe looking into how to make a hobby something that you can monetize. This is also event planning or publishing. There could be a creative pursuit that, again, you want to make happen in 2023. And your spirit guides are saying that the only enemy here is you, or the only person that is stopping you is yourself. So learn from other people's stories. Get inspired by someone that you look up to. Maybe connecting with a loved one that you admire or that you respect and asking for business advice. Okay, I'm going to finish this off with a oracle card. You could also be working as an intern somewhere, and you might feel very limited in the contribution that you can make. Just know that every small thing matters, and look at your day as these are the things that you're doing to contribute. Whether or not you feel like it is, perhaps a change of mindset will help. That's the last thing I will say before I get this other oracle card. Okay, so 4 fell, and I think we're just going to go for it. Look at that. We have facing your fears. What were we just talking about? Look for ways to strengthen your connection to the universe and to others. Stay peaceful and calm in the knowing of who you are. So perhaps finding an environment where you feel supported. And perhaps you can find that in a support group where you feel like your space is respected and sacred, but also it allows you to open up to others who have a sense of what you're going through. We have every step counts. There is an advantage in taking things slowly. This is all about Virgo, okay? Breathe deeply and fully as you consider your options. So don't feel pressured to make a decision. Only go after the things that feel right to you. If it feels right, it's the move for you. If it doesn't, listen to your gut, okay? Because I think oftentimes we second guess ourselves for the sake of pleasing others or pleasing our family. But at the end of the day, when we're not in tune with our intuition, we end up making decisions that we often regret and shame ourselves for. So forgive yourself is also what I'm hearing. Also, getting connected with nature, getting outside more, because I'm hearing that you like to spend a lot of time inside, and perhaps you're like too much screen time. I'm also hearing a lot of screen time. So if you have a pet, take them out for a walk, or, do a deep cleaning, do a deep clutter, release all of the things that no longer bring you joy, and make space for the blessings that you want to manifest. In our desires, we have a lot of sea slugs, and sea slugs, they like to move slow, okay? So moving slowly doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Look at the tortoise and the hare. I'm sorry with these cards. I'm trying to make sure that they're all visible, and I'm not doing the greatest job. Okay. See, and I'm giving myself shame for that. So Sienna, stop it. We're releasing that. Set some intentions. You are entering a phase of plenty or may have a sudden windfall. Goals are within your grasp. Create a 12-week plan and select 2 to 3 areas of your life that you really want to improve on. So I'm going to list those categories here on the screen. And I plan on doing a whole series because I'm starting something that I'm not going to talk too much about in this video, but set smaller goals to achieve bigger desires. And finally, we have convey your meaning. What were we just talking about? The importance of sharing your story. And also, you might feel like an outlier. You might feel like your story doesn't matter, or your story stops you from pursuing what you really want to do. But guess what? The field needs your voice. Without your experience, your experience could help someone else. Think of it that way. Reflect on the way you communicate with others and with yourself. Be sure to express your thoughts and feelings from your heart and with respect and sincerity. I think this year you're no longer abiding by the mindset that you have to say yes to everything, okay? So again, take your time, choose the things that bring you joy, and surrender to simplicity. All right. Thank you so much for allowing me to read for you. I will see you in the next one. Toodle! Pile 2, welcome to your reading all about how you're getting your ish together. So, as soon as I laid down these cards, I heard a very high-pitched ringing in my left ear. So, and you have the... If it decides to focus, you have the I want that Hulan Szechuan McNugget sauce. And we have the labradorite crystal. And so the ringing, I heard that you really want to get something off your chest. And there might be a situation, or you felt like there have been situations that are outside of your control. This could be a warning sign. So this could be an accident, or this could be something that happens to you or something that happens to a loved one. And I think 2023 is calling you to reevaluate your life and those big life decisions that you have made that have gotten you to this point. So that being said, let's get into justice being the ish you are getting together in 2023. I am hearing contracts, okay, accountability, following through on what it is that you say. At the bottom of the deck, we also have the Empress, and the Empress was also in pile 1. So perhaps there are messages in there for you. The Star is the external influences that are affecting you getting your ish together. So maybe some of you have had a Saturn return or have just recently finished their Saturn return. We also have the Ace of Wands and representing your internal influences, the Moon representing the outcome. And I think the Moon represents a comfortability with the unknown. You are more in tune with your inner cycles and your emotions. With Justice, this is Legolas energy, okay? If you don't know Lord of the Rings. But I'm seeing this again with the bow and arrow, is you have to focus on the things that matter. And that might mean turning your back on obligations that maybe you don't need, and how you manage your time. So being more intentional about the things that you choose to invest your resources in. This is you breaking this pattern of repeating some sort of cycle, whether this be a toxic relationship, whether this be you noticing that you are ordering takeout and you're binging Netflix too much, like over and over again, and you're not getting as much done. And I think it's because you are having this awareness of how your mind feels after something. So like scrolling on your phone, after scrolling through your phone for an hour, do you feel well rested, or do you feel sleepy, tired, wanting something to munch on? And I'm not saying don't honor your appetite when it's not, but something about intention is coming through very, very strongly. This is you regaining and reclaiming your decisive power in a situation. You need to rely on your compass rather than having someone else keep navigating the ship for you, if that makes sense. You could be stuck in the past. Maybe there's an ex that keeps coming back into your life, or there's a toxic friend that every time you have a conversation with, it just feels like they're complaining and complaining and complaining, rather than it being a genuine connection and you're just afraid to assert those boundaries. I think that's what you're learning this year in 2023. You might be working with a therapist to process some memories from the past that you've repressed, and those memories could hold they could have a subconscious hold on you. With the Ace of Wands is this internal lack of inspiration. And the Star, obviously, you might feel afraid to be seen, is what I'm hearing. You also have a tendency to not people please, but if somebody asks you to do something that you don't want to do, you're afraid to put your foot down because you don't want to seem harsh, or you don't want to seem like the party pooper for not wanting to go out. But I think that fear of missing out is going to be something that you work on clearing and releasing this year. With the Ace of Wands, this is a tree that has grown from the stones, right? And it almost feels like the flower needs this tree to kind of scoot her closer to the sun so that she gets the light that she needs. And internally, you might not be surrounding yourself with the inspiration that you need. Maybe your house is a mess, and I'm hearing some of you might be neurodivergent, and so when things look hard, it's easier for you to talk yourself out of doing them than just going for it. And so starting small is really going to help you cultivate self-assurance moving forward. New beginnings, that's if you work on what it is that you need to work on, which in this case I think is following through with the things that you say that you're going to do, but also not seeing every situation as the worst thing ever, because your perception determines your truth. I think Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Something along those lines. And so if you keep telling yourself that building a business is too hard, I'm never going to make any money doing that, I'm not going to be happy, working all the time, whatever you're telling yourself is what you're going to believe. And the Ace of Wands and the Moon is asking you to question those beliefs, okay? We have the Justice, we have the Star, and we have the Moon. So we have Libra, we have Aquarius energy, and we have Cancerian vibes. Ooh. A lot of cards kept wanting to come out, so you might be putting things off. Shared inspiration. I kept hearing inspiration come out. Throw yourself into a new project. Be willing to let go of time constraints and rules and really be aware of whatever fulfills your heart. I love that. And I love the dolphin vibes, okay? Because dolphins are extremely communicative. You might all of a sudden decide to write a blog post or do a YouTube video and it goes viral. For those of you who are content creators, you might be afraid, or it almost feels like you have to level up. And that creates a lot of internal pressure on your part. And so some of you might be working to release that as well. It's not a numbers game, okay? That's what I also heard. Oh, okay, we have 39, back on task. Be sure you are using your time in the best possible manner. You might consider reviewing your goals, your schedule, or a project you're working on. All could use some fine-tuning. I highly recommend checking out the 12-week year, because there's a lot more that you can get done in 12 weeks than you can a year if you focus on one or two specific areas of your life. We also have 22. Take note. Your answers are being given to you. Quieting external voices and excessive noise will give you the chance to hear what it is you're being offered. I also am hearing that some of you might feel a little jealous because your friends are in places where you want to be. I would say don't compare, because everybody has their own story. And by denying your story and your truth, you're taking away from your authenticity. Do what is right and just according to your values. You might have to develop a sense about who you are before you can step into that vision. Make a vision board, okay? Maybe have a vision board party and everybody brings a bottle of wine and some magazines and some poster board and whatever, glitter, stickers, etc., washi tape, and you just celebrate each other's goals. That sounds like a really fun idea. And also maybe you're connecting with friends to help have that accountability partner. Taking note, journal so that you can reflect back on this time in your life. And then when you are in a space where you're comfortable to show your whole self to the world, to yourself, whatever, like you can look back at those times and see the growth, right? Traveling this year, in however capacity, just surrounding yourself in a new environment might help illuminate revelations and epiphanies. Let's see what spirit guide is helping you get your ish together. What spirit guide is helping you get your ish together? What spirit guide is helping you get your ish together? Expanding your social group might help a lot, because some of you might like to put a lot, like you might feel pressure to do things by yourself. Some of you might be the oldest if you have siblings, and so you've always kind of felt the pressure to do more or not make a mistake. And that could have been learned from a young age. And your spirit guides want ultimately to give yourself a little bit of grace. We have Archangel Michael with number 1, clarity, truth, and protection. We also have the sword here, and it looks like we have a pair of wings. So allowing the truth to set you free. When we receive clarity, we have that capacity to go within and reflect on how this clarity makes us feel. And sometimes our feelings surprise us with insight. Go after the truth. The truth will protect you. Even if that means sharing your story. I know that might seem scary, but it also could be cathartic and therapeutic. Archangel Michael is really is associated with the root chakra. So you are working on feeling comfortable in your own skin and in your own voice. Especially with the Star and the Justice card, and then you have throat chakra energy here, I would definitely say nurture your voice. Especially we have also labradorite. I actually want to get the labradorite crystal stone. Hold on. Really quick, I'm just going to read the little oracle message for Michael before we go into your crystal card. You are stronger than you know and have reserves of strength you haven't accessed yet. Whatever is going on in your life now, you've got this. So protection, ask Archangel Michael to keep you safe from all forms of harm, fear. Anytime you're feeling afraid, just call his name. Cutting and clearing negative energy cords that keep you attached to people who are no longer in your life or anyone you feel attached to in a negative way. Feeling strong and courageous, speaking your truth and clear communication both ways. Cutting through the BS and seeing a situation with more clarity with the Justice card and the Aquarius card. I really think that. We have feeling strong and courageous, speaking your truth, and clear communication both ways. Oh, I'm sorry. Discovering and living your life purpose, beginning on or returning to your spiritual path. Okay. Labradorite. What is it? It's a feldspar mineral first discovered in Canada's frozen north. The stone seems to hold the light of the aurora borealis just beneath its surface. This slightly psychedelic iridescent dance is known as, quite appropriately, labradorescence. Who needs it? Adventurers exploring far-off lands, places alchemical. I know it's alchemy. Alchemical, spiritual, artistic, and dreamy. Any Pisces. Where to put it, wherever you cast your spells, when to use it. When you've lost your faith in magic, the world is a weird, wonderful, whimsical, watery rock hurtling through space. And you're on it. And that makes you special. Gaze into labradorite and delight in that. Protect your magic. Oh my gosh, and we have protection here, which was not intentional, but making crucial decisions about the future. Don't let the future scare you, okay? Do your best to remain in the present, but also honor what it is that you want and what it is that you need. I'm going to pull from the same book I pulled from in pile 1. And this is Daring Greatly. It was the first book that my therapist gave to me. So we're just going to get a page of wisdom to close off this reading. 45. This questioning process helps. Oh, here. Anyways, we'll just read it. You know what? I'm going to just read myth 3 because we're going to read all of it. Never mind. The questioning process helps because, as you can see from my answers, regardless of our willingness to do vulnerability, it does us. When we pretend that we can avoid vulnerability, we engage in behaviors that are often inconsistent with who we want to be. Experiencing vulnerability isn't a choice. The only choice we have is how we're going to respond when we're confronted with uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. As a huge fan of the band Rush, this seems like the perfect place to throw in a quote from their song Free Will. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. In Chapter 4, we'll take a closer look at the conscious and unconscious behaviors we use to protect ourselves when we believe we're not doing vulnerability. Myth 3. Vulnerability is letting it all hang out. One line of questioning that I often get about is our let it all hang out culture. Can't there be too much vulnerability? Isn't there such a thing as oversharing? These questions are inevitably followed by examples from celebrity culture. What about when movie star X tweeted about her husband's SA? Or what about reality TV stars who share their intimate details of their lives and their children's lives with the world? Vulnerability is based on mutuality and requires boundaries and trust. It's not oversharing, it's not purging, it's not indiscriminate disclosure, and it's not celebrity-style social media information dumps. Vulnerability is about sharing our feelings and our experiences with people who have earned the right to hear them. Being vulnerable and open is mutual and an integral part of the trust-building process. I just realized I'm not showing you the page. We can't always have guarantees in place before we risk sharing. However, we don't bare our souls the first time we meet someone. We don't lead with, "Hi, my name is Brenè, and here's my darkest struggle." That's not vulnerability. That may be desperation or woundedness or even attention seeking, but it's not vulnerability. Why? Because sharing appropriately with boundaries means sharing with people with whom we've developed relationships that can bear the weight of our story. The result of this mutually respective vulnerability is increased connection, trust, and engagement. So that's what I read. All right, that's your passage. Be open with those who you trust. Okay, call on Archangel Michael. Maybe share your story with Michael or another spirit guide, or talk to someone who's passed away. And that will help. I promise. All right, that is all I have for you, Pile 2. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Toodles! Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading, all about how you're getting your ish together. So these are my clarity cards. We may or may not use these. I'm going to put them over here. Okay, so with the first card, this is representing the ish that you're getting together. We have the Two of Cups representing external influences, Queen of Cups representing internal influences, and finally the Knight of Cups representing what your life would look like, what the outcome would be if you got your ish together. So, the Five of Swords is your approach to solving a problem within a group or relationship. You might be non-confrontational by nature with this Queen of Cups and this Two of Cups. You're very sensitive and compassionate and caring, and any failure, so to speak, in a relationship feels like a personal one to you, and you might take on a lot of personal shame or guilt in that. And so I think a large part of getting your ish together is reevaluating how you perceive yourself relative to others. And maybe as a child, you got into trouble for things that maybe you didn't do. And so when something goes wrong, all the hairs stand up on the back of your neck. You also could be dating the wrong person, because the external influence, this could be a relationship pattern that you've been ignoring. However, because it's an intimate relationship, because you want to make it work, because you don't want to hurt their feelings, because you feel pressure to stay in the relationship due to what other people would say if you broke up, you are trying to make this relationship work, however unhappy it is making you. With the Two of Cups, and the Five of Swords, I have a feeling at work you might be feeling a little bit of unease and discomfort. You might feel like your needs have not been met even though you've asked. And I get the feeling that your heart longs to do something a bit more creative or a bit more in line with what it is that you went to school for or that you're really passionate about. And that, obviously, the ball in that area is in your court. But the Knight of the Knight of Pentacles combined with the Queen of Cups is a positive career change. So maybe this Five of Swords is you sitting down with your boss and negotiating a deal. It could be you saying, listen, I am not happy, and as much as I would love to continue contributing to this company, I can't continue because I think that your mental health might be suffering as a result, and you're afraid to say something. So in 2023, I'm seeing this ball, this sphere. This is like the Seeker in Harry Potter too. Like, you might have felt like you did something wrong, or I don't know, you may have done something that you thought I'm also seeing, okay, I know I'm kind of all over the place, but I'm also seeing that you have a harder difficulty with coping with changes. So I'm seeing this as you being unhappy in your relationship or you being unhappy in your career. And I have a bunch of cards that just fell on the floor, so let's get those. I did not mean to bump you. Okay, we have lucky number 4, Sagittarius. Pertains to changes, moves, or travel, indicates new friends or associates. You might be changing careers, or you might even have to move physically in order to change. Or maybe you're going from an environment where you have to go to work to one where you have more freedom and you can work from home. We have the Two of Cups, a new romance or friendship, cooperation, and partnership affairs. Yes, I am seeing that all you want to do is make the other person feel valued, and you're afraid that your unhappiness isn't enough. But I think your spirit guides are showing you that you need to value your time just as much as you value your colleagues or your boss. I didn't mean to just shake the camera. We have unfavorable moon, denotes gossip, slander, or intrigue. Beware of jealous friends. Maybe you don't feel comfortable speaking anymore to your group of friends, or maybe you don't feel as comfortable being as vulnerable as you used to be due to changes. Maybe some of you are long distance and you don't just get to connect. And so it's harder for you to go out of your way to make friends because you might be shy or introverted, which is not a crime. I am too. And so I think the universe might be asking you to also learn how to develop your own community online, or find a support group where you feel confident opening up. We have indicates a new beginning, a pleasant surprise with the Tower card. Yeah, you might be walking away from your job or a relationship. And this walking away from the relationship, it might not be permanent. Like you just might convey that you need to take a break. Otherwise, this could be you having a conversation or learning how to have a conversation without being confrontational or feeling like you're confrontational, but at the same time, you still are asserting your needs and desires. We have unfavorable Saturn, lucky number 5. It denotes temporary misunderstandings with friends or associates. And we have favorable Sun, lucky number 9, denotes good health or speedy recovery from illness. The sun is coming out tomorrow. Some of you might be finishing your Saturn returns. And as a result, you could find a lot of changes in the way that you approach a situation. We also have 3 oracle cards for you. We have Archangel Uriel, inner power, ideas into form, illumination. So life is almost illuminating what needs to go so that you can be given that opportunity to reclaim your inner power. Alexa, timer off.
1 hour and 10 minute timer canceled.
We have the number 4, which is the number of stability. And life decisions might be hard, but I think your spirit guides are asking you to think about where you would be the most stable. Where would you be the most at peace? And I will read the excerpt from Archangel Uriel just because this is a new deck. It's time to take action on divine guidance you have been receiving. Don't dim your light to make others feel more comfortable. Instead, shine bright and inspire others to shine their light as well. Seek out relationships that allow you space to grow and shine. In work, share your ideas and shine your light. Be open to opportunities to be a leader of light in your work and in the world. Home. A light and bright home can help you feel lighter and brighter. Clear out the dark corners. Money. Get a clear picture of what's going on with your finances and do your research before making any big decisions. Well-being, focus on physical fitness to balance your inner and outer power, and spirituality. Walk your talk and take your own advice. Try yoga to cultivate inner power and meditation to open the crown chakra. We also have ground yourself. So this is also strengthening the root chakra, feeling more at home to be yourself. And then we have trust in the magic. So you might not see your spirit guides working with the universe to bring light and love to you, But just know that synchronicities are on their way. Birds, white birds, doves, or the white raven herself might come and grace you with her presence should the universe have a special message for you. But just know I'm hearing that it's going to get better from here. It is going to get better from here. I want to draw another oracle card. Hold on. I put it right here. Oh, it's right in front of my face. All right. Pile 3, getting their ish together. Pile 3. Ooh, wow. She came flying out. We have safe and surrounded by love. Keep your heart open and know that you are being protected. Listen to what you know to be true and allow yourself to see and understand what is going on around you. I think especially with the 5 of Swords, give grace to those that are having a bad day because life is full of circumstances and full of change, and you might not know what the other person is going through. And while they might not tell you that they're having a bad day, if they cut you off, if they're short in conversation, just give them their space because 9 times out of 10, it is not you. We also have childlike devotion. You are a multi-talented, complex being. Embrace and love who you are. I think with this Queen of Cups, you give so many others grace and compassion that your spirit guides are inviting you to see that for yourself. I did want to include some book magic, so I'm including this book, Daring Greatly, that I have drawn from all the piles. And this is a book that has a lot of good messages in it. I'm actually thinking about rereading it. We have 22 Daring Greatly, looking at narcissism through the lens of vulnerability. Diagnosing and labeling people whose struggles are more environmental or learned than genetic or organic is often far more detrimental to healing and change than it is helpful. And when we have an epidemic on our hands, unless we're talking about something physically contagious, the cause is much more likely to be environmental than a hardwiring issue. Labeling the problem in a way that makes it about who people are rather than the choices they're making lets all of us off the hook. Too bad. That's who I am. I'm a huge believer in holding people accountable for their behaviors, so I'm not talking about blaming the system here. I'm talking about understanding the root cause so we can address the problems. It's often helpful to recognize patterns of behaviors and to understand what those patterns may indicate, but that's far different from becoming defined by a diagnosis, which is something I believe, and that research shows often exacerbates shame and prevents people from seeking help. We need to understand these trends and influences, but I find it far more helpful and even transformative in many instances to look at the patterns of behavior through the lens of vulnerability. For example, when I look at narcissism through the vulnerability lens, I see the shame-based fear of being ordinary. I see the fear of never feeling extraordinary enough to be noticed, to be lovable, to belong, or to cultivate a sense of purpose. Sometimes the simple act of humanizing problems sheds an important light on them, a light that often goes out the minute a stigmatizing label is applied. This new definition of narcissism often offers clarity, and it illuminates both the source of the problem and the possible solutions. I can see exactly how and why more people are wrestling with how to believe they are enough. I see the cultural messaging everywhere that says that an ordinary life is a meaningless life. And I see how kids that grow up on a steady diet of reality television, celebrity culture, and unsupervised social media can absorb this messaging and develop a completely skewed sense of the world. I am only as good as the number of likes I get on Facebook or Instagram. Because we are all vulnerable to the messaging that drives these behaviors, this new lens takes away the us versus those damn narcissists element. I know the yearning to believe that what I'm doing matters and how easy it is to confuse that with the drive to be extraordinary. I know how seductive it is to use the celebrity culture yardstick to measure the smallness of our lives. And I also understand how grandiosity, entitlement, and admiration seeking feel like just the right balm to soothe the ache of being too ordinary and inadequate. Yes, these thoughts and behaviors ultimately cause more pain and lead to more disconnection. But when we're hurting and when love and belonging are hanging in balance, we reach for what we think will offer us the most protection. There are certainly instances when a diagnosis might be necessary if we are to find the right treatment, but I can't think of one example when we don't benefit by also examining the struggle through the lens of vulnerability. Something can always be learned when we consider these questions. What are the messages and expectations that define our culture, and how does cultural influence our behaviors? 2, how are our struggles and behaviors related to protecting ourselves? And 3, how are behaviors, thoughts, and emotions related to vulnerability and the need for a strong sense of worthiness? If we go back to the earlier question of whether or not we're surrounded by people with narcissistic personality disorder, my answer is no. There is a powerful cultural influence at play right now, and I think the fear of being ordinary is a part of it. But I also think that it goes deeper than that. To find the source, we have to pan out past the name-calling and labeling. We've had the vulnerability lens zoomed in here on a few specific behaviors, but if we pull out as wide as we can, the view changes. We don't lose sight of the problems we've been discussing, but we see them as part of a larger landscape. This allows us to accurately identify the greatest cultural influence of our time, the environment that not only explains what everyone is calling a narcissism epidemic, but also provides a panoramic view of the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that are slowly changing who we are and how we live, love, work, lead, parent, govern, teach, and connect with one another. This environment I'm talking about is our culture of scarcity. Whew, that was a lot. I'm going to let you digest this, and I need to reset my camera anyway, so give me a minute. Yeah, so trust in the magic of your healing and your own personal growth. And know that your spirit guides are going to help you illuminate what it is that you need to see to make personal changes, right? With grounding yourself, I see that you could also be learning to feel safe and comfortable in your own body. So meditating, eating root vegetables, connecting with your inner child, taking a walk in nature, surrounding yourself with abundance. Because I think the scarcity mindset that Brenè was talking about, though she was referring to shame rather than, monetary abundance, you might have had to prove your worth in a way, and you might not feel worthy of it at times, especially when things go south, or when you don't get the job, or when you don't get the number of likes you wanted to on that post. Like, it's a consciousness that we need to adopt, that we are all worthy of it's like innately and on our own accord, and we don't have to follow someone else's definition of love. So with that being said, I am curious about love and relationships for pile 3, so I'm just gonna Yes, so this is unrequited love. So some of you could be walking away from an unhappy relationship. There's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep the relationship going. We also have, again, it is safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. You might not feel 110% safe to love in this union, and so your spirit guides might be calling you to keep your heart open, but also know that you can walk away, and that doesn't mean that you failed or that you did something wrong. I'm going to roll the Astro Dice to close out our reading. We have 5. We had a lot of 5s. This is all about the house of fun and pleasure and spontaneity. This is Leo energy. We also have 3. Oh, I guess I have 2 of these. So the 5th house and the 3rd house. Having fun and communicating. Learning, thinking processes, siblings, neighbors, friends. We also have the North Node, so maybe the North Node is either in the 5th house or in the 3rd house. And let me see. I'll get to that in a minute. We have Aquarius. So, for example, if you have Aquarius in your 5th house, you are going to rebel. So you might have unconventional ways of having fun. Or you might have career aspirations that are very different from the norm. So a very entrepreneurial spirit. Aquarius in the 3rd house is not being afraid to say what it is that you have to say and just expressing yourself no matter what. And Aquarius is the star. The star is a sign of hope. So you are multi-talented, and you are a complex being. Embrace and love who you are. Don't let your friends' aspirations or expectations, don't let your siblings, just stop comparing yourself, because I think that is doing more harm than you think. All right, that is all I have for you, Pile 3. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more pick a card readings like this one. Toodles!